What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one, the only, Ash Said It. AshSaidIt.com, AshSaidIt.com. Welcome to the Ash Said It Daily Podcast Show. I appreciate you guys for all of your love and support. Over 1,500 episodes and 500,000 streams worldwide. None of this would be possible without you guys, so I thank you so very much. And yes, we're still surviving a pandemic life, we're still doing what we got to do. And there's just been so many changes that's happened in and around our city. You guys know ATL is my heart. I love Atlanta to pieces. And so today we have the esteemed pleasure and honor to have with us the president and CEO of Pace's Property, the wonderful David Cochran. Hello, David.
Hey, how are you doing today? Hello, everyone else.
Yes, I am good. I'm good. So, David, how are things going as far as weather-wise? How are you surviving with the temperature drop in the last 2 weeks here?
Are you talking about temperature in reality?
Oh yeah, in reality.
Like the cold weather, or are we talking about real estate temperature?
Yeah. As far as like the weather, the temperature reality.
This is one of my favorite times of the year in Atlanta because it's swelteringly hot for so long and humid, and then when the cold, crisp air comes, I think of college football, and I think it's more survivable climate wise, and I think of fires burning in my living room every night. So and I love Christmas time. So
yes,
I'm the guy that puts all the blow-ups in his yard and junks up the neighborhood.
Gotcha. Now, I heard that, Pace's Property is behind one of my favorite districts in the whole metro area, Krog Street Market. Love it out there. The food hall is, amazing. And everything else surrounding that area, I absolutely love. So when I heard about how you guys were revitalizing the Atlanta Dairies district, I was like, okay, I have to talk about this first because there's so many moving pieces to it. But to start things off, first off, how did you guys acquire this project?
Well, thank you for the compliment on Krog Street Market. That means a lot to me. Krog Street was a very fun project, and it was great to see how Atlanta responded to a food hall concept because we didn't have one, and they embraced it greatly, and it was a pleasure developing it and owning it, and it's a place that I will always love, and glad to hear that you did as well. So after Krog, the reason why we ended up in the Memorial Corridor and why I turned my sights down to that area was frankly because of Krog Street. I mean, the success of Krog Street caused me to start looking more into even further into sort of the urban core of Atlanta. I was born and raised here. I've always kind of been an in-town guy, and the success of Krog Street made me realize that there was probably newer and greater things even further into the urban core that I could do. And Memorial Drive is one of those areas of Atlanta that was a bustling sort of economic center of Atlanta at one point, and then it changed, and it never really came back after the civil rights movement and things of that nature. The retail core just left, and so I decided that I could bring that back if I could get enough mass to sort of create a title change. And so I bought 9 assets along Memorial, starting at Oakland Park and pretty much everything in front of the Oakland Cemetery. And then I kind of left Frog a little bit down the road in 2017, and I was able to buy the old Atlanta Dairies manufacturing facility. We actually bought it from Parmalat, which is a Canadian group that had bought it from the Atlanta Dairies co-op. And it was a project that had kind of been black-eyed a little bit. Parmalat was a big bankruptcy, Canadian bankruptcy. The tornadoes that hit in downtown Atlanta, when they spun out of downtown Atlanta, they hit the buildings at the dairies, and it caused dairies to shut down, actually. So the site was vacant, and we were able to acquire it. And so that was kind of how we got there and the why. And we decided that was such a historically meaningful part of Atlanta from the standpoint of so many children that grew up here did field trips down there, and they met the cow and saw them. And so many people got their milk delivered to their house by the dairies milk trucks. and the little silver buckets that everybody kept on their back porches. And it's just one of those things. You see so many historical photographs. So we looked at it not as a land deal, which is what other people had looked at it prior to us. Somebody was going to knock it down and build a Publix there. Somebody was going to knock it down and build apartments. And we looked at it and saw that the building, just like Frog Street Market, had a tremendous amount of character and elegance. And you can just walk into buildings like that and you just feel the soul of the past in you. It's guttural, but it's undeniable. And
Right.
I just felt like that it really needs to be repurposed and reborn into the second phase of its life, which is where we are today.
Yes, absolutely. Now, 2020 has thrown everyone for a loop in so many different ways, in so many different angles. So how are you and your team able to still progress on this project, amidst COVID?
I'll be honest with you, COVID was, I said something similar in the downturn of 2006 with the residential housing crisis. We were heavily in the condominium and apartment, mainly in condominiums. We were building mid-rise and high-rise condos, and that was a downturn that no one could have ever predicted, and no one could have ever predicted even how precipitous it was. I mean, it was a downturn that was Armageddon. And after that, we got through that. I said, well, we're never going to have something that bad again. And then COVID hit, which was even more unpredicted and uncontrollable, and something that truly I don't think anybody had ever sort of thought could happen. So I will say that in the beginning stages, March, April, May, June, it was triage. Our real estate world was full on triage. And now we're more in we got the patient stabilized and not in critical condition, and we're more in the management. And as opposed to some landlords out there, I would hope that my tenants would say that, we've really tried to, it's a unified front. It's one of those situations where the tenants have felt the brunt of COVID from the standpoint of government mandates to say that you can't be open and can't operate your business because of this pandemic. So it's uncontrollable, and the faucet gets cut off. But as opposed to just me just looking at them and saying, sorry, we've really tried to be thoughtful and help as much as we can from a monetary standpoint, from a assistance standpoint that way, helping them navigate it. But I think the biggest thing that my team's been most successful with our tenant base is to let them know that they're not in it alone, that we're working for them and with them, and that we chose them and they chose us when they decided to put their businesses in our retail assets. And that does not mean that we're going to turn our back on them. And I'm proud to say, I'm incredibly proud to say, we have not lost a tenant due to COVID. And I don't know if there's many folks out there that can say that. We have not had a casualty a tenant casualty that's related to COVID. And so we pretty much fully stopped looking at any sort of new projects because I just knew that 100% of our focus needed to be on our existing asset base to make sure that we get them right-sided, stabilized, and positioned so that when the curtain fully comes up, that we're ready to go. And we've been focusing a lot of our time of what is the compelling reason why our assets are meaningful pre-COVID, but why are they even meaningful post-COVID? And a lot of it has to do with the way that we develop our projects with a lot of open space in mind. And open space is preferred right now. And Atlanta Dairies is a great example of that because Atlanta Dairies has a 0.5, half an acre of open space in the middle of it. You wouldn't even know was there unless you actually go to Atlanta Dairies.
Right.
And that's a big parcel. It's a big chunk of land that we could have, built buildings on and whatnot, but we just felt that it really needed to have this sort of oasis in an urban landscape that felt really just relaxing and open, and you could have private, intimate conversations, but yet you didn't feel exposed in an open area from the standpoint of feeling like the spotlight was on you, and just a really unique place to be in the middle of an urban environment.
Yeah. And
that's the area that Three Taverns Brewery fronts to. That's the area that Cold Brew coffee bar is fronting, as well as our music venue, which is, a 2,300 person per show music venue that's about to be complete.
Amazing job. You guys have accomplished so much, in such a strained and crazy and random period in our history. So, I tip my hat to you and your team. You guys are doing it.
You can let times like this overtake you and punish you and make you feel helpless, or you can look at a time like this and say that you're just not going to let it beat you, and that you can get through it, and the reward is on the other side. And if you believe in your business and you believe in your core of what drives you to get out of bed in the morning and go to work every day, I am a firm believer that you can prevail over anything.
Absolutely. And you guys are already been, awarded the best mixed use redevelopment in Modern Luxury's 2020 Real Estate Awards. So that is awesome. And congratulations on that.
But, thank you very much. It's always nice to be recognized on some level. It's
yes.
I always think that everybody always thinks their baby is the cutest baby in the room. But at the same time, at the end of the day, you probably know it's not. But when somebody else tells you that you have a cute baby, it's really nice to hear.
It is. But as we close things out here today, David, let everyone know why they need to come and visit the new, reimagined, redeveloped Atlanta Dairies.
Atlanta Dairies is if you're from here, you'll probably know it from some data point in your deep recesses of your mind, maybe on a field trip when you're a kid, or just seeing some historical photographs if you're at the varsity and whatnot. And that's not the only reason, but that's just a cool reason because it might trigger something in your memory banks. But a place like this that was always a manufacturing facility that you now can experience as a patron that comes onto the grounds and has a beer or has a coffee or has a nice meal or shops. It's always really unique to just be around that feeling of there's so much soul and character in the bones of the areas that you're experiencing. And Atlanta Dairies is also one of those places that I don't think you're going to find a whole lot of, if any place in Atlanta where you're going to feel the way you feel when you get into the core elements of being in a half-acre open space that's got the concrete that makes the pathways is the same concrete that we tore out of the ground when we redeveloped the site. We just repurposed it, and it's got just beautiful views, and it's surrounded by all of these phenomenal. I mean, you got to come down and go to the Three Taverns Brewery. They call it the Imaginarium because they make experimental beers, and it's phenomenal. And it's got a 2-story patio, and the coffee bar is a coffee type that we've all had because everybody's had Chick-fil-A coffee, and the cold brew bar is Thrive Farmers, which is the exclusive coffee provider for Chick-fil-A. This is just their first and only brick and mortar location. Oh wow! And then we have Wonderkid Diner, which is a mashup between Big Citizen, which owns Bonton, and the owners of the King of Pops, which is the popsicle group out of Atlanta, and they've got Wonderkid, which is a true, authentic diner. It's 3 meals a day. It's open from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. And right now, the Wonderkid Diner has been reimagined into the Miracle Bar, which is the holiday-themed pop-up that comes to Atlanta every year for a 5-week run. They opened the Miracle Bar on Thanksgiving, and it runs from Thanksgiving to New Year's Eve. And they're doing it with social distancing and, lower capacity, but they've taken over some of our common area elements in order to expand the footprint of it. And I'm actually going to have dinner there tonight for the first time. Ooh. Pretty excited about it. And it looks like, pardon my grosses, but it looks like Santa Claus exploded all over the place. It's gaudy and tacky, but at the same time, it's a phenomenal environment, and it's a really fun, spirited sort of experience. And it's just great to see people coming and enjoying Atlanta Dairies. I mean, Three Taverns Brewery, when they opened up in July, they gave their fans on Instagram less than 24 hours notice. and I think they sold $15,000 worth of beer in 6 hours when they opened. And a beer's $4, so that's a lot of beer.
Phenomenal.
And Dairies is one of those projects that's taken longer than we thought it would because there's a lot of moving parts, and it's not in the sort of straight and narrow of what lenders like and want to do, but we fought through it and we got it built and delivered, and finally, after 4 years, I can say that it's arrived, and it's better than anything I could have ever imagined. And not only am I seeing that, but I'm seeing that other people are seeing that. People are finding their way there, and I would encourage everybody that's listening to just find your way there.
Yes.
Just Google it, whatever you do. Just find your way there, because the theme of the Atlanta Dairies was, stay all day. And that's how we designed it. That's how we developed it. We want you to go down there, and you're going to want to go down there and stay down there and hang out, get a coffee, get a beer, get a meal, or just hang out in the open space and enjoy the sunlight and the open air and fresh air, for that matter. And then we have also got some exciting announcements coming when it comes to the music venue and when they're going to be opening.
Okay.
The music venue is owned by a big conglomerate off the West Coast, AEG, as well as in a venture partnership with a local group that owns the George Theater.
Yeah.
And they're almost finished with construction. It's stunning. It's the most stunning music venue I've ever seen in Atlanta.
Wow.
2,300 people show. They're probably being very thoughtful about when they're actually going to be opening. But I'm thinking springtime, maybe sooner, hopefully.
I think so.
And they have a rooftop bar that's open air. That's going to be stunning views, and it's going to have live music up there that's not pay to listen.
Okay.
And we've got some retail tenants. We've got a few retail tenants that we've not announced yet at Dairies that will be opening in the first quarter, and some potentially new restaurants in the works as well. Cool. So it's finally taking shape, and it's really great. Yes. I'm a big fan, and I would encourage everyone else to try and test my statement and go down there and see it for yourself. And I think you'll love it. Yes.
Well, David, I cannot wait, because like I said, you come highly recommended. Krog City, Krog Street, I could hang out there literally all day, and we're walking to and from all the different spots and everything. So I'm super excited to go check out Atlanta Dairies.
Well, you can go to Krog Street, hop on the Beltline. You just walk down the Beltline until it ends, take a right, and then you're at Atlanta Dairies.
Oh, really? That's super easy.
Yeah, they extended the Beltline from all the way to, it now runs all the way from Krog Street, and it terminates at Memorial Drive.
Wow, okay.
And it terminates like maybe a tenth of a mile from the front door to Dairies.
Yeah, that's super easy. I like that. I'm putting it on my list,
Or
David.
you can just bypass Krog Street.
Okay.
Come on down to Dairies. You can stay all day.
All right. That sounds like a bet. David, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate
I can't thank you enough for having me on here. It means a lot to me. I've got you dialed into my podcast subscriptions now. So I'm going to be listening to you going forward.
Yes, we appreciate that. So, I mean, honestly, David, you got to come back. I want to hear about this new music venue, this IEG collaboration. So we got to.
Anytime you just say the word. And I would encourage you to try and go down to check out Miracle Bar.
Yes.
It's only here through the end of the year.
Oh,
so
yeah. Okay, gotcha.
If you want a reservation, you just let me know. I kind of know the place.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. And thank you to each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face, you tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.